Okay, I'm going to call to order the Culvert Town Council meeting at 6:30, Tuesday, September 14th, 2021. So roll call, please.
Mr. Clevenger.
Present.
Mr. Githens.
Here.
Mr. Ham.
Here.
Mr. Tardy.
Here.
Mr. West.
Present.
So I'll stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like everybody to know that this meeting is being broadcast via Microsoft Teams and is being recorded. Participation in the meeting is your consent to be recorded and to the rebroadcast of the recorded meeting. The recorded meeting will be available for viewing on the town's YouTube channel. At this time, would everyone please make sure your cell phone is turned off during the meeting? Thank you. First item on the agenda is approval of the minutes from the Tuesday, August 24th meeting. All those, is there a motion?
As revised.
Yes.
Yeah, I would move that we approve the revised minutes from the August 24th regular town council meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion was made by Rich and seconded by Sally to approve the revised August 24th town council meetings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is approval of the August financial reports. Everybody had a chance to review them? If so, is there a motion for approval? Thank you, Bill. Is there a second? Motion made by Bill Clevenger and seconded by Bill Ham to approve the August financial reports. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the park project public hearing. It's time to open up the public hearing. Is there a motion?
I move that we open the public hearing on the park project for the county stuff.
For a second?
Second.
Motion made by Rich and seconded by Bill Clevenger that we open the park project public hearing. Please, all in favor, say aye. Thank you.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Same sign. Motion carries. Go ahead.
All right, good
Shannon?
evening, everyone. My name is Shannon McLeod, and I'm with Priority Project Resources. I have had the opportunity to be, it's actually been an honor, to work with the community for probably, it's been over 10 years now. And what I do is I do federal grant writing. Familiar face there, how are you? And I do federal grant writing and administration, and like I said, have been doing that for some time for the community. We currently are in the process of applying for a federal grant that will allow us the opportunity to do some park improvements. And I know that you've already circulated a sign-in, but I have to have a sign-in sheet specific for that. So I'm going to circulate this around. And then, Amber, if you would like to maybe tell the folks about what the plans in the park are.
Yep.
And then after you get through that, if anyone has questions about what we're doing specifically, we can try to address those, and then I'll talk to you about the grant process and the dollar amounts and things of that nature, okay?
All right. So basically this project's part of the regional stellar grant, for those of you who don't know, through Marshall County Crossroads, sorry. So the project for Culvert then is a social gathering space and playground project. For those of you who haven't noticed, the playground on the west end of the park has kind of seen its days. So the plan right now is to take down that entire playground, condense it into one. So where the wood structured playground is right now, that's going to be the only playground section instead of like awkwardly having two sections. Then the space in front of that will be cleared up so that we have more space for events like the farmer's market to expand. We'll be including some sidewalks in that area to make the farmers markets and various events ADA accessible, which is a big piece of the project. And then in front of the pavilion will be a little stage area so that when we have music vendors come in, they can perform, which happens a lot at the farmers market as well. Other than that, it's just a little plaza area right behind the train depot, which will include additional seating. And then right now we have out a public survey for a potential piece of the project. We're trying to do an outdoor game, engaging people's interest as to what that will consist of. But if funds run over, that will be the first item on the list to go. I do have a map for anyone who is interested in seeing the general layout. Anyone else? Okay, there you go. Anybody else?
No,
Okay. Anybody else want one up here? Good.
So leading up to this, there have been many meetings with the design firm. The design firm that the community is going to utilize is the Troyer Group. And they have helped them. They help the community and the county with this overall regional plan, and then work with each of the individual communities on their specific projects to kind of fine tune those. So that's been probably the last 6 months to a year that you guys have been kind of working on the layout and getting together all of the itemized cost of what the project, how much it's going to cost and what it's going to take to get it implemented. We are working with an overall budget of $600,000, of which $480,000 will be coming from the grant. And then the $120,000, the town will be supplying that as the local match. And that's being, I believe, Karen, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's being divided. 60,000 is coming from the park board or the park fund, and then the remaining 60 would be coming from the redevelopment commission. So that's where those local funds are going to be coming from. What our intent is to get the application submitted sometime in October. We ran into a little bit of a stumbling block with having to do an income survey, so that I had hoped to have it in by the end of this month. But as soon as we wrap up the survey, I'm gaming for it by the 15th of October. It's taking the state about 2 weeks to review our plans and our application. So I'm hoping by the end of October, 1st of November, we will have our official grant award. And then we will have to do some miscellaneous paperwork, sign grant agreements, do some notifications in the newspaper from an environmental standpoint. And then hopefully be in a position to bid the project either by the late December, but we run into the holidays, so we may want to defer and bid the project in January and see where the costs come in. And as Amber said, there's many elements in the park, and we're going to bid them out each as a line item. And so, you know, we're going to try to do as much as we can with the funds that we have. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah.
Where are you getting the grant?
The grant is coming from the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs. They kind of go by the acronym OCRA. And that they had, yes. And so Marshall County, through their stellar planning grant process, had applied for the funding. And the Office of Community and Rural Affairs, I think, set aside like around $8 million. I was going to go, it's not around $8 million. And that $8 million was split up among all of the communities here in the county. And what was set aside for Culvert was the $480,000. And Culvert got that's a question that I've had some people say, well, 480,000 out of Culvert itself was designated stellar and they reaped the rewards of that. And so being good stewards, they tried to spread that around to some of the other communities that weren't successful in individually obtaining that. And so we took the 480 and we were able to accomplish a lot with the Culvert stellar. And then so this will be a nice, icing on the cake where we can get some nice improvements down there at the park.
We also, out of regional stellar funding, got some NDOT funding. NDOT puts $4 million
That's
into that pot. So we got a little chunk of that for a trail.
Yeah, Don, stand up and state your name and address, please.
Yeah, Don Freeze, I'm a member of the Lions. This plan that I'm looking at, has this changed from the two presentations that we saw?
It has. So for those of you who don't know, we've had stakeholder meetings, which have included obviously the Lions Club and the Culvert Farmers Market coordinators. You're speaking on behalf of the one. We met with the Lions Club, myself twice, and Jonathan once. Since our meeting, it's kind of hard to tell because it's not all measured out. The playground has been shifted towards the pavilion because they were concerned about the lake view. The main central structure, which is we're thinking as of right now, a lighthouse, was decreased in size so that view would not be obstructed as well. And then for UCB, there used to be a stage area there. The Lions Club had expressed they didn't want it in that space. And so we shifted it over towards the West Pavilion.
Excuse me, what letter?
It doesn't exist, but where B, this item right there,
B,
there used to be a stage right there that we presented onto the Lions Club.
right.
You guys had expressed, it might be a better location to put it at the pavilion. And then as you can see at the pavilion on the west side, there's that concrete semicircle slab. That's now the stage area. So those were just some of the improvements or adjustments from the meetings.
Thanks.
Are there any questions about the park project go ahead, ma'am.
I'm Annette Osborne, and I'm also with the Culvert Lions Club. Amber had been kind enough to come to the club and make some presentations and take our input. And I've been asked by the club to present some ideas that they have been kicking around as well. One idea with the playground was to keep the current playground footprint, but shift it more to the west and move it south towards the pavilion. East, west. Keep the footprint, but move it away from the parking lot and more down towards the beach area. And the advantages of this, in our eyes, is it creates that wide grass safety buffer that was a concern between the current playground and the parking lot. It will allow the families who are using the pavilion to have eyes on their children while they're playing, which the new location does not so well. It contains a slope to the lake, which there was a slide involved in the original plan that could be accommodated there. And the playground in that location would remain mostly shaded. The handicap sidewalk, as it was shown originally, went down the west side of the depot and then across and around. An advantage of moving it to the east side, there's already handicap parking there. And the sidewalk that would be needed then to get to the facilities would be a much shorter sidewalk, and it's all at grade. Whereas on the other end, you've got this big hump where the rail bed used to be. The farmers market paved walkways. Essentially what we would like to see is swapping the playground and the farmers market areas. Putting the playground where we talked about, making the paved lanes for the farmers market more in front of the depot. And then that creates open sight lines, lots of green space between the depot and the lake every day except market days. And green space is something that we're very conscious of not paving over as Lions. the performance stage is exactly where we'd like to see it. That, I really like the fact that that got moved to the end of the pavilion. And another consideration, at some point, the park is gonna have to build a restroom building. And that really needs to be in the back of our minds as we're making these plans, so that 5 years, 10 years, 2 years down the road, we don't have to dig some of this up, because the only place left to put the bathroom is right in the middle of this project. Because of the frequency of Lion Club activities and the events in and around the depot, we have a vested interest in the future of the park, and we appreciate that you've allowed us to have input into the plans.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other comments in the room? Sure, Patty.
Patty Stallings. On A, is that, are they paved, is that for the farmers? market
Yeah, so
permanently?
all those little red and white squares, those aren't part of it. Those just are mimicking what the farmer's market tents would look like. But the like cream outlines are the sidewalks, which people then, like who have limited mobility or wheelchairs, can get in and out of the farmer's market and visit each booth.
Would they, I mean, they really have wrecked the park, with their great big semi. I mean,
Right.
of course it's good, but,
Yeah, and I talked to the designers at Tour Group about that specific point, and we are making the sidewalks wide enough so that they can drive on the sidewalks, so that they're not driving in the grass. Yeah.
It's a mess. I don't know how you do, but
Yeah.
get grass in there, but.
Yeah, that was definitely, we included that specific item for that reason.
Any other questions in the room?
Well, when you stand up, on the parking lot and you look into the lake, which you naturally do, especially to the way west, there's a lot of greenery. We got the basketball court, but that's about it. And it's really pretty and it's very nice. When you go farther down to the east end of the park, it's full of playground and volleyball and an amphitheater. And it's still, if you walk it, there's a lot of grass there and families are able to get down there and love it. But I'm glad that you didn't continually take the green out of the west end, because it's really very nice. And we need to save our green in this town. And that's my comment.
Thank you. Any other comments in the room? Are there any comments from people online? If so, please state your name and address. Hearing or seeing none. Motion to close public hearing.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Bill, seconded by Rich to close the public hearing. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Anything else, Shannon?
Just I want to make sure I get that sign-in sheet if it's not circulated back up here. And then I do have a couple quick things. One, I had sent a copy of that agreement to do the income survey and to Jim, and I think the only thing that was on there that was requested was that we change. I had 2020 still in the one of the date lines, so I changed it to the 2020 one. And if that one is the one to do the grant writing, and that was the one that I had presented at the last meeting. And then actually when I got back and I was going through everything and organizing the file, I was like, you had already signed it.
one.
Yeah, so the only thing, so I put together another one just for the income survey. That was the 3,000. So if you guys could, and Jim, you took a look at that already. It's my standard thing, and you can just check the cost, and we're doing the survey, and that's that. And then I don't know, is Troyer's, you want to
I
take?
gave him a copy of it
Okay.
too, so it's, I've got it under my report, but we can do it.
Well, no, that's fine. I mean, I didn't know. You can do it whenever you want, so.
Okay, is there a motion for me to sign the
Did that
income-
last.
No, the income.
the income survey? No.
Oh, I thought we had, okay. I will move that we authorize President of the Council to sign the agreement with the plan for the income survey.
Thank you. Is there a
Second.
second? Motion made by Rich and seconded by Sally, authorizing me to sign the income survey 2021. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries.
Bill, did you want to address the Troyer Group one at this time? It's part of
Sure.
this project.
Before we get, there's a second public hearing on this, I believe. 2 weeks
There
from
will
tonight.
be another one on the 28th.
Just to announce.
So
So there's two there.
there's two,
Right,
there's one for you and one for me to take
yes.
back. So,
Jenny, what would you like?
So the Troyer Group one would come out of local funds,
it does.
and it's within the scope of the budget
I'll send
for
both of them.
the
Yeah.
design and construction documentation and the bidding and construction administration for a total lump sum fee not to exceed $53,200.
She does, yeah.
This is the one I sent you guys over email. Jim, do you want a copy of this?
I got a copy. Thank
Okay.
you. And the question I asked you about, Jenny, just to put on the record, we don't need to wait for the income survey to do this.
Today's
Should
date.
I
there be
don't foresee that there be any problems.
And they won't get paid till release of funds,
Right.
but they will do some work to submit that application, because we're not really technically in final design at this stage. Does that make sense? There could, just as an FYI for the people that have input, there could be input from other parts of the public once the final design comes out. We generally will have an input meeting. So we would want to invite some of our wheelchair users and people who would have a vested interest in some of the aspects of this project to come to that input session. And Lions could come back because technically we're not at a final stage design. That's a preliminary design that Shannon can submit with the application.
That some of this agreement with Troyer for this design would be covered by the grant.
It'll actually come from the local money, the match.
Otherwise, you have to.
You have to procure. So once the grant's officially awarded, we will have to go through a procurement process on the grant administration part of it, because the grant administration part will be covered in part with the grant funds. But we'll wait until we know we're officially awarded and begin that process.
Now I need a motion to enable me to sign the contract with the Troyer Group.
So moved.
Is there a second?
A second.
Motion made by Bill Ham, seconded by Sally, authorizing me to sign the contract with the Troyer Group for the park project. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign, motion carries. Thank you.
And then I just wanted to inform you that when I was here at the last meeting, we talked about the need to do the income survey, and that my plan was to go door to door. But then when I got back and started doing calculations, we actually need to collect quite a few surveys. So what I want to do, if it's all right with you, is for those households that were randomly selected, we've already got them, you know, who they are. We would like to send the survey form along with this basic letter that just explains to them what we're a little bit about the project, what we're doing, and telling them that this is voluntary. If they don't want to fill out the survey, they just need to put an NA on it and mail it back to us. So that way, we're hoping that we'll get some of the, we'll be able to narrow down, get at least 50% of what we send out, so that when we actually come to do the door-to-door, we might be able to bust it out in a weekend instead of 2 weekends. So I just wanted to make sure that that'd be okay with you.
So these are all mailback?
Yes, so
What's your estimate of complaints? Or
typically Basically, we're mailing out 250. We're mailing them out, and we have got to collect 150, around 150 surveys. I've got the exact, but we typically only get about 40% back by mail. And then the other 60% will actually be a follow-up visit that we will go to door, or maybe do a phone call. But at least instead of 150, if I can get 75 of them back, you know, then that's only 75 homes instead of 150 to go visit. And given the fact that timing is kind of the essence, the more help we can get, we can just get this out in the mail. What we were doing is actually, I brought them with me, Karen, and I didn't know if it makes, I don't know how your mail's routed. If I put, the vast majority of them are going here in Culvert. So I thought if I put them in the mailbox here, or
Wayne, and it comes back here.
and see,
Yep.
if I would have
Oh,
put
yeah.
them in mine, it was gonna go to Cincinnati, and then to Indianapolis, and then to Fort Wayne, and then back here. So the bottom line is that, is there a drop box here in town that I can put them in? Or I don't, I've got them in two boxes. I'll bring them in and leave them in, and then if you guys can take them to the post office tomorrow. It's silly to sit with something in town that goes out and then comes back, but so be the fact. And we're actually giving them,
It saves money.
we're giving them until the 30th of this month. And then I'm hoping we'll have the public hearing. I'll be able to kind of give you an idea of how many. And then first or the second weekend in October, we'll finish that all up, and that'll be the last part of the application that'll need to be uploaded. So I'm still shooting for that by October 15th, having it in.
On social media.
Yeah, if you could,
If
I
I
mean,
get a
if you
survey in
could
the
just
mail.
say that they may get a survey in the mail, and I will leave you a copy of the letter. It says here on this letter, it said September 20th, because I had hoped to get them out a little earlier, but it just didn't happen. So on the actual envelope on the back, we put a sticker that says deadline has been extended to the 30th. So that's, the letter says the 20th, but we put something on the actual, when they open it, that says to the 30th. And then, like I said, we're just hoping that we get 40–50% of them to respond back. So that narrows down what we have to go look around. And because I can't get my Molly to work like I used to. That's my daughter. You know, she's 24 and got her own life now. She's not at mom's beck and call. I don't like that business. So that's just so that y'all know that those will be going out. And I did put in the letter, if anyone had any questions or thought this might be, you know, not legitimate, that they could call the clerk's office. So I put your name in there. And then if anyone has questions on it, they can call me, and then we'll see where we're at. And then I'll coordinate with the police department as to when we'll be up to actually do the door-to-door. But yes, putting it on Facebook would help. And, you know, even too, getting comments about the park on Facebook, just, you know, in favor or keep green areas and things like that. That shows that the community's involved and engaged. So go and bang it out all on the Facebook page and see what we can get, okay? All right, that's all I have.
Thanks, Shannon.
Thanks.
Thank you, Amber. Okay, next. Debbie Palmer, Lake Maxinkuckee Environmental Council. Hi, Debbie.
I, probably 5 or 6 years ago, I went to a lake fest in another community, and they had painted a storm drain that drains directly to the lake, and they'd had it painted by an artist, and it was elaborate. I mean, it was huge, as big as half of this room. So it wasn't just a little stencil, it was an elaborate artist's rendering. And so I've always wanted to recreate that. And so the timing is right now for me to, I'm looking at a grant opportunity to hire an artist to do this. And that's as far as I've gotten. But I wanted to present that to this board to ask, one, for permission to move forward and to look into it I don't have a lot of information yet. Right now, it's still just an idea. But I was looking at perhaps the storm drain. I have not asked Amber this either, but you know, like this, there's a storm drain right in front of the lodge, the beach lodge, but there's also some storm drains. Well, yeah, everywhere. So, so that's, I guess that's what I'm asking for permission, and to see if you have any concerns about whether I can proceed with that. And then I would want to have it done for Lake Fest next year, just to call attention to the storm drains that flow directly to the lake.
Council?
I guess my question is, what kind of painting?
Well, what kind of paint?
No, what kind of painting? You say paint the storm drains.
Well, so I guess it's primarily using the storm drain as a backdrop, but then the painting itself would be on the road. So,
Yeah.
It's a mural on the road.
yeah, a mural, that's,
Storm
that's
drain
a
is
really
focal
good,
point.
yes, more of a
Yeah.
mural, trying to
Okay.
call attention to the fact that anything is going down these drains goes directly to the lake.
Could
So,
you come back and bring us, a sample at a future date?
Sure,
That everybody could look at and,
and I haven't talked to any artists, so it would be, so this would just be maybe a picture that I've seen from other communities.
that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay,
Is that okay with you, Bill? Is that what you were getting at?
so I guess that was what I was wanting to know, what would you want from me?
Is there a message on this or any wording? Or is it?
It's just
pictures
an idea
speak for
in
itself?
my head right
Okay.
now, so yeah, I mean, it would be some kind of environmental message is what it would be. And right now, like I said, I haven't gotten with any artists to come up with any ideas, but it would be with an environmental message in mind.
We can give you some contact information for the muralists who have done other things in town.
Excuse me?
We can give you some contact information for the muralists who have done other things in town.
That would be ideal.
That are associated with ED and Arts
Okay.
Council.
Okay.
One of the plans though, after, if you do this for Lake Fest, what are the plans for upkeep?
And it would be something, and as I've looked at what other communities do, it's typically a one season thing. And then at the end of the season, come in, once it starts looking not very good, come in and remove it.
Okay, thank you.
There's been similar projects like that.
Yes.
They put,
There's a
like a
fish.
fish, a stencil.
Right, so it's a stencil,
Yeah.
but this would be something
Right.
quite
More
elaborate.
yeah.
Yes, it was effective though, the ones in the past. I saw it and it made me think.
Some of them had a medallion that said drains to the lake.
Yeah.
It
Right,
stayed for quite a while.
And yeah, and those are, you have to kind of look for them.
Mhm.
This would be something that you wouldn't be able to miss because it would be quite large and quite colorful and quite elaborate.
Why don't you bring us back some samples and
Okay,
further expand
is
on
there
your
anything
ideas and
I was saying, anything else that you would like, any other information you would need for me to bring back to you?
would be a grant that you would obtain through the Environmental Council.
Yes, oh, yes, yeah.
So the town would have no cost, just the permission.
Just the permission, yes.
Council
Yeah, that,
understand all that and happy with that?
And we have plenty of time, so this was
Right.
just the first step. So if I bring back some examples and maybe you think of some other questions that you would like me to answer for you, we'll just keep proceeding. So this is just step one to see what your concerns might be.
I think it's an idea that, I'd be open to.
Yeah.
I think it's
Thanks a lot, Debbie.
Great.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Peerless Midwest contract.
Yeah, so Bob and I are presenting this Peerless proposal. And I broke it out for you on the town manager report, and I think you all got a copy of this in email and hard copy at our last meeting.
Mhm.
Right now, the first step is to test the site, and then if the site is feasible for a well, you can move on from there. So what I did is showed you that the testing part of that contract comes out to $33,780. Should that test yield the results that we would want, and we move forward with construction of that well, it would be an additional $115,050. So right now, we're just looking for, Bob, correct me if I'm wrong, we're just really looking for approval to do the testing phase of this at the $33,780.
We'll cover the IDM permitting and the test drill. That'll give us a water quality, water volume, water, if it's even feasible. Before this, we didn't have a place to do it. Now we have the Eagle Check site. We've had IDM up and they've looked at the site and there's a very small square that we could drill as well.
The downside is if it doesn't work, and we have to go somewhere else, we'd have to repeat this process.
Yes.
I just think everyone needs to know that.
Anytime you drill a well, though, you're required to do all of this.
Right. No, I understand, but I just think everybody needs to know that and be aware of that.
I would move that we approve the Peerless proposal to do the IDM study and the exploration for the well on the Eagle Check property in the amount of $1,780.
Thank you, Rich. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Rich and seconded by Bill Ham that we approve the $33,780 with Peerless Midwest to test for testing. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Next, we have Midwest Engineering Water Project contract.
Yes. As you know, when we were doing Lake Max Phase 3 preliminary work, Bob had brought up that we've got major water pressure issues in the Fleet Parkway, West Terrace neighborhood. And we would like to fix that through, and we need to do that though before putting a trail in the same location. We are working on a utility agreement for this. I edited the last agreement we did with the academies. Jim has reviewed that and told me what to modify before we send that over. We're expecting to get that utility agreement worked out without an issue. So we're ready to propose to you what that would entail if we move forward with the project. Midwestern did an assessment for us. The total cost of that project by their estimate, and of course, we would have to bid out the construction part of this, would be around $221,000 if that construction estimate is accurate. So we talked about the possibility of Karen's done some work on looking at our utility accounts. We talked about the possibility of this being an ARP project because it fits within the budget that we expect to receive for that. So we just want to know if you all would like to move forward with this project, assuming we get that utility agreement signed with the academies this coming week or two.
So this contract would be subject to that agreement.
Yeah. I don't anticipate any issues with that based on the Academy's attorney and Dr. Bird's response to our request.
Is there a motion to approve this contract pending the Academy getting back with us on the contract?
So moved.
Second.
Motion been made by Bill Clevenger, seconded by Rich West, to approve the Midwestern Engineering Water Project contract in the amount of $221,000 pending receiving agreement back from the academies. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Karen, do you want them to vote on an ARP project or
Not
like?
yet. We can, let's
Work
get
it out.
together, because we still have to put together that plan. And I also want to make sure that we're, I mean, all of that ARP stuff is so complex.
You just want to
that I
go through the
don't wanna-
processes.
Let's start the process with this, so we're not holding anything up.
Okay.
And then we may have to do some moving around, but it sounds like they're coming up with requirements for use of that money, so I
Okay.
don't want to necessarily
Karen, I'll have
commit
to
to
prove that
something
she
and then,
is.
what?
Karen will have to prove who she is. It's for us to get our money.
Throwing darts at a moving.
Oh, that's
target.
right. That's where you gotta do
That's where I
your
have to have my passport.
passport
Social
and
security ID and have a
rent,
5-minute
and have a
phone call.
retina
Yes.
scan and,
Yeah.
oh, that's what you were talking about the other day. Gotcha.
Stop rent.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Next on the agenda, stop sign at the intersection of Cavalier Drive and Sand Hill. Robert?
When we originally built Sand Hill Boulevard and Cavalier Drive, it was a full curve. Now that the paddocks has slowly gained occupancy, we got people that are going north, straight across going into paddocks. And their true right of way should be Cavalier on the Sand Hill. On the Sand Hill Drive. I feel that it's created an uncontrolled intersection. I don't know if we do a three-way stop or if we do a stop sign facing west on Cavalier, so Cavalier traffic has to stop and allow Sand Hill to go on into the paddocks. That would be more, if you guys want to do a three-way stop, a single stop, but I think we need to control traffic at that intersection.
Makes
Wayne agreed.
Yeah, but which way? I mean, have you
Yeah.
done a traffic count as to which is the best?
He didn't offer any
approach?
suggestions on which way to go. If we put a single stop sign right at Cavalier, that was stopping to the right of way to Sand Hill, so that would eliminate the uncontrolled intersection.
I want to call the shed, that building there, a bus stop for school?
Yes, that's for the children to stand in when the bus moves in.
I just wondered. Typically, a project like this, you do traffic counts to figure out how much you're talking about as far as each way. So I've done before.
Yeah, I don't have any ability to do that. I don't know if MACOG would assist us in that. Traffic will be minimal. I mean, it's not like it's a major.
Right.
It's just gonna be the tenants of the. If you want to wait and vote the next meeting, that's fine, get Wayne's input. I just think it's something we need to address.
Okay.
Do you want to do a count though first? I mean, if we're going to do something, that ultimately will be something you're going to ask for, correct? Or that we should get.
I could research with MACOG if they could send, and it,
It's
because
just
it's
a
such a
person
small,
sitting there.
yes, it's
picking up.
such a small
Right, I mean. it's-
project, MACOG might be
Or-
willing to do it.
Yeah.
I'll
Okay.
reach out.
Which, and I don't know that we need a, unless there's a big expense associated with it, a motion to do that, to just to do a traffic study of that intersection to see what we should do.
Well, we can just defer this to the next meeting.
Meantime, gather some
Yeah.
information.
Right, right. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Typically, MACOG would likely charge for something this small, but I'll let you guys know over email.
And if we add a stop sign, we would need to add that to our town ordinances.
Yep.
Yes.
There's some modifications that need to come up anyway with electric vehicle charging stations. Anyway.
We can do it all at once.
You will at once.
Yeah,
Okay.
that sounds good.
All right.
All right, we'll bring this one back.
Sounds good.
Just want to get it done.
I understand. Thank you. Regional Stellar Plan update.
You really got the regional stellar plan update with Amber's report. The trail projects are still in the status quo stage for the regional plan. So I'll move you into stellar plan update and actually just do that along with the town manager reports since those are in there, if that's okay.
Sure.
All right. I'll start with that electric vehicle charging station that Bob just mentioned. We worked with MACOG to come up with an ADA compliant plan that we have to do before we can finish installing all of that. I think we told you guys we're gonna have to put a pad, a cement pad in the front of it, cut out the curbs around it, or lower it so that someone sitting in a wheelchair can reach it. As Bob told you at the last meeting, he got a quote from Rocky Bachman to do all of that. The quote is for $2,500. You'll see in the report, I've got an action item to motion to approve that so we can finish the install of the electric vehicle charging station.
I move that we accept the proposal for Rocky Bachman to modify the curb and the ad for the electric charging station in the amount of $2,500.
Thank you, Rich. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Rich, seconded by Bill Ham, that we approve Rocky Bachman quote for $2,500 to do the work on the charging station, electric vehicle charging station. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Paving and crack sealings, Bob got onto the vendor on this and they started back up to work. We're hoping they're done by Wednesday, but part is going to depend on this weather.
I didn't see him in town for that.
Yeah, so we're gonna have to keep writing them. Lake Max Phase 2, we had a meeting today regarding the schedule. The contractor will be starting on Monday of next week. This is gonna be done in phases. Basically, phase 1 and 2 will be combined because it's this Washington Street area, and then to the alley behind the building that Grant and I own. That's gonna be the first chunk of work done. And then we would start, the next phase would be Plymouth Street down to South Main Street. So they went over schedule with Bob today, went over some issues, Bob's concerns and things to look out for and that sort of stuff. We had that meeting today. Went really well. I think we both had some confidence in what they want to do. And that first phasing will probably sound like 3 to 4 weeks. With NDOT projects, they generally will stretch over quite a period of time. We will have to ask for an extension on this because they have substantial completion predicted for October, which is not realistic. And the other side of it is once you get into this fall weather, pouring sidewalks and that sort of thing can get a little iffy. So we're going to kind of monitor that and keep you guys in the loop on how that goes. But we will have to let the public know that they're going to be working out here. This road, Washington Street, is in the design slated to become a one-way road. So we're going to have to start educating the public on that as well, because when you start coming down Lakeview, you won't be able to take a left anymore. Everyone's used to Coolidge being one way coming in, but we're going to have to start prepping the public for that. So just a heads up on that. And if people ask you a question about that.
Hopefully we get graphic generated so we can get that dispersed and we can show the new traffic plan.
We're going to ask Troy Group to give us a nice graphic of the road and so we can show it to the public, put on social media, TGL, hanging on the billboards, etc.
Will we put signs at the north-south entrance streets from Lakeshore Drive indicating?
Yeah, signage usually, I asked that question at the meeting. They do it as soon as they close out that phase.
We have to amend the ordinance, traffic ordinance.
Yeah, probably. We'll add that to the list. Now we have 3 things to put in that list. Yeah. It'll be going from that direction this way.
Just to Lake Street.
Just to Lake Street.
Lake Street, west of the north.
But yeah, we'll end up having the paddocks, this street, and the electric charging station all put into that ordinance. We'll present that at the next meeting.
Okay.
Lake Max Trail Phase 3. As I noted, Jim reviewed the utility agreement. We'll get that over to the academies, and that'll help us launch the Midwestern contract. Why is that still in the same part of the process with the environmental work?
Okay.
I'm going to skip ahead. We've already covered, all the way through. Down at the bottom of the page before the park department, xylem repair for pump on Madison Street. Bob got a quote to do this repair. Is this the one we sent out letters to the homeowners, Bob?
No.
Okay, another one. Basically, parts of this pump are fine, but we've got to replace some parts and do some repair. And the total for that is $4,134.08. So to do that, we would ask for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Question? Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay, looking at, I guess this is their invoice. But the second page has a replacement cost of $8,052.90. Are we replacing the pump?
I always, when I ask for pump repairs, when they go through and quote it,
Okay,
I always ask for a complete replacement.
okay,
Once you get up over a half, it's almost better to just take it and replace the whole thing and junk what you have.
will we do?
This isn't quite half, so I feel comfortable in just repairing.
So he's asking for just the 4134. Which is the
Okay,
repair.
yeah. I just soon replace the whole pump. I think you're just living on borrowed time.
I've rebuilt them before and they work just as good as new.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's up to you, but I recommend you just rebuild it.
Are the pumps in all of the pump stations identical, or are they?
They're the same brand, but they're different horsepowers.
Okay.
Different. Some of them are three-phase, some of them are single-phase. So you can't just have one on the shelf.
Yeah, that was my question.
You have to have,
One size doesn't fit all.
and right
Yeah.
now the spare is in Madison. When this one gets repaired, it'll go on the shelf for the spare for that station.
So you do keep one as a backup?
The Davis Street lift station we don't have, but in the grand plan, I want to upgrade it to three-phase.
Yeah.
I can talk to you more now.
Okay, so is there a motion for the repair to the pump?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion to repair the Allen pump for Madison Street at an amount of $4,134.08. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Nay.
Motion carries. 4-1. Okay.
Okay. Next, I'm going to skip down to the Broadband Task Force. This group met again since our last meeting, and we are now working on bringing in service providers to have them present to us so we can engage and ask questions. We've asked Mike Overmeyer to join that committee, that task force, because of his background in installing these fiber. So he and JB Overmeyer attended our last task force meeting. And we're looking at this next meeting being the 27th and 28th timeframe, depending on when those service providers can engage with us. So I'm setting those meetings up. We'll keep you in the loop on that. The Economic Development Initiative got rescheduled for October 20 and 21. I've met with Cheryl. We started working on an agenda and a plan for that. We have quite a few people being invited to that. So one of the things that I talked to her about was utilizing a large venue so we can socially distance, and we can also have breakout groups. And Karen Schumann has offered, school is not in class at that time. So she's offered their new renovated cafeteria where we could potentially meet there and then possibly bring in lunch through like a local caterer. I don't have all the logistics worked out for that. I just want to get your input on whether you would be willing to support having us spending some money to have a coffee service, drink service, that sort of thing. We're expecting this to be a 2-day workshop. So we thought it would be nice to, feed all the stakeholders who are at this. Preliminary put down a budget of 1,500 for both days. I'll do a little research on that, bring you guys more specific numbers for that if you're open to that idea.
Council comments?
I think if these people are helping us work on a plan like that, I think reasonably, if it's through lunch, we should provide a lunch and there should be beverages available.
I agree.
Yeah, generally, if you're hosting something like that, you provide something.
You want to give her
Lunch.
a motion?
Not at this time. I think I will at the next meeting though, when I can give, I want to, so far of all the people we've written to, there's strong interest in attending this. So I do think we'll get good attendance, and I want to give the number 70 to a couple of local caterers to get an idea of what
Narrow
lunch
down
would
the cost.
cost. Yeah.
Okay.
So, and I'd like time to talk to Karen about where we might take that, because this is not something we budgeted. So,
Proceed forward.
okay, I just want to throw that out there.
Thank you.
And then really the only other thing I wanted to cover was the Tamarack Road project. I just wanted to let you guys know, Jim and Sally and I went up and met with Bill Facenda, and went over sort of what's going on with that project. We're gonna get some information to him. Jim's already sent him some stuff that he requested from Jim. And he's going to take a look at everything, and knowing that we were going to status the redevelopment commission and the council at that meeting on the 20th, we wanted to get this meeting taken care of first so that we could get Phil's input, which was valuable.
Is that an executive session or just a combined?
We were going to advertise it as executive.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Anyway, that's really all I've got, Bill.
Okay, thank you, Jen. Whoops.
Jenny, on phase 2, because of a lot of the concerns expressed in the community regarding routing and construction and things like that, besides just the minutes appearing on the town council webpage or the town webpage, should we do something additional like communication to the residents along that route, or just if we have their emails or blog, or just something to say the project is starting, these are the dates when we think things are going to happen in this sequence of stage?
I think we should do social media, TGL. We could do one to each household if you want. I don't have email address. I mean, I have a few of the email addresses for that group. David, I guess if I sent something to David and maybe a couple others, they could spread the word, because he probably has a good email address.
Comfortable leaving that to you, but just suggest that we do some outreach
like a heads up,
communication.
this is going to start in the next week or two.
And what the anticipated dates are. I mean, there might be some delays, as you said, because of the weather, pouring concrete and things.
Yeah, I think we can do that, Rich. I think I've got enough email addresses that they then, forward it on.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Is that it, Jenny?
Yes. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Bill. One other thing that's not in the town manager report that came in late to me today.
Okay.
There is a subcontractor working on the Jefferson Street Trail project who was hired to do the sod and the watering. And that contractor wrote, it's called DBL Services Incorporated.
Okay.
His name is David, and he wrote me an email regarding the cost of our water. Now, keep in mind that he signed a contract where that cost was already included as part of his cost to do the work. But in the meantime, he's done some work in Mishawaka and Plymouth where they don't charge as much as we do to water sod for these large amounts of water. So he wondered if the council would consider discounting his water purchase from the town to do the Jefferson Street project. His bill from us was $508.25. And then I've got a copy of what he signed, knowing that that would be the cost. Then he's given me, the city of Mishawaka does not charge for water usage when it's associated with a city project. What they have contractors do is go put down a deposit, and then they're charged $35 per month of the usage. So if he's here for a month watering sod in Mishawaka, he paid $35. He also sent one from Plymouth to fill 1,000 gallons was $14.18. Our water is 19,000 gallons was for the $508.25. So that's what we charge for that sort of thing. He did know that, but he's still asking if you would consider discounting him. So am I being accurate about that?
You're accurate.
Comments?
He had a signed contract though for, so he's coming after the contract?
Yes, he knew what the costs were before he did it.
Yeah.
He knows it's gonna be $500.
He knows how many times he has to water that grass, how many gallons it takes to water that grass.
Okay.
And how much we charge
He had,
for those.
he had to fill out a bulk water sales form. And on there, it shows his start date and the end date and what he's purchasing, and that total was included. So basically, he came in and filled out that sales form to get the water from us.
And if that was an issue, he could have stopped in Plymouth because it's a Mishawaka base.
And this shows the times he came in for water and the total, the chart.
Charges are set out in your water rate ordinance, right?
Yes.
Yep.
He asked me about it, I denied it, told him that you guys can override me. And he went to January now, I guess.
Comments?
Next item on the agenda?
What?
Next item on the agenda? I mean,
We have a signed contract.
you don't have a motion or anything on the floor.
Nope,
Sounds good.
moving right along.
All right. And now I'm technically done.
Thank you very much. Department head reports. EMS. Jeff, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. I don't have anything for you guys tonight.
Thank you, sir. Terry, for fire?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things to hash through you guys. One thing, yes, we ended up getting a $5,000 DNR grant, which we have yet to decide how we can spend it. I knew it was for firefighting equipment, but we're gonna try to get a final list of what that is. If not, it's a matching grant, so somewhere or another, we come up with $5,000 to purchase equipment for We're presently getting prices on radios, which we talked in a previous meeting about getting them. Still looking at the budget that was for that. I think we're gonna end up getting maybe 2 radios this year. That's gonna be it with that. But I'll know more when we're getting prices, because the changing prices they're all over the place. They're like $5,000, I believe is what they are, so. And also we did, we had a meeting a week or so ago that Bill showed up to, was an air pack. It was for the air packs that you asked me to look at and get prices. Very informative. It was very good. The guy was a good, taught us some things that we didn't know about upgrading and doing things that we weren't aware of too. And in the meantime of him getting us a price, it was see if we can get some more prices. So we went out and got 2 more prices. Actually, we tried 3 different places. So we ended up with prices from 3 instead of 4. So I've got a price from the HGAC company, which is about fire truck 3 for $188,632. We have a price from HR Hughes, which is $210,124.96. And we have MES, who presented us at the last one for $153,025.37. They're our local dealer. They're the vendor that we're supposed to go through. Some of these other ones we tried through the HV, since we have that, we tried Hoosier Fire, which we bought a lot of things from, 3 tries. They never got back with us on it. So I'd like to go on with that price.
Are all, I mean, apples and apples? And there's that wide of a variety from the vendors?
It's because a few of them they're out of district, so they're not giving us a discount.
Okay.
This vendor gave us 13 air bottles, which is about $1,100 a piece for buying, instead of buying the 8 that we talked about. We're gonna buy 16 because we're ordering them now. They'll be readily available in 4 months, or right after the first of the year is the projected time to get them. Knock on wood if everything comes together.
Okay, so you're looking for approval of,
$153,025.37.
I'd just like to make a comment,
ahead.
support of Terry. It was a very informative meeting, but for someone that I even understood kind of what they were going for. These things are very complicated. And I'm satisfied that by choosing this vendor that we've done what we need to do, and that's ensure the safety of our personnel. And I would like to make the motion that we approve the amount of, what is it, Terry?
$153,025.37, if I got them all lined up.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve that amount.
is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Bill
I have-
Clevenger,
Question.
seconded by Bill Ham. Question?
I can't remember exactly how much was budgeted.
More than that.
If it's, as long as it's above,
We're well under, with him donating 13
Yeah.
bottles at $11,
Yeah.
$30,000 less than what I believe we shot at.
We budgeted 2 times 87,660.
okay, thanks. I
It was over,
couldn't remember.
it was half this year, half next year.
Right.
This billing will come in as of the first of the year when they arrive.
Okay. Thank you.
So motion been made and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Question on the grant from the DNR, are there restrictions on how, I mean, so could you put that toward the radios? Or could you put it toward?
We don't know. We're gonna check. That's why when you do, apparently when you do one of those, you put it down there for firefighting supplies. And then there'll be a list of things that we're searching into that to see what we can use them for. But I don't know that it's radios. If it is, that's our next item that I know that we're gonna be searching hard for. So if we can, we will. And I know that's a dated out thing too. As long as we pay our $5,000 towards that grant, we don't have to do it this year. I mean, it'll sit there until we need to spend it. But I don't know the length of time that will sit there. There is some time.
DNR usually does have a deadline, so we'll have.
Anything else, Terry?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you very much. Wayne, are you on? Okay. Amber?
I just have a salary change form. This is for Adrian Shooten. He's, one of our maintenance workers, since the summer ended and we had people leaving. He's taking over the head maintenance position, which comes with a 50 cent per hour, wage increase. So that's $9.25 to $9.75 for him. Well, him, yeah, you both have to sign it, so.
Right. So you need a motion
To approve that
to approve Adrian
promotion, yeah.
Schoen?
And women.
Fountain? Pardon?
To the effective date.
Yeah.
Says next date is 9/14,
The
next pay period of
is
9/27. And the salary will go from 9.25 to 9.75 an hour. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by
Second.
Bill Ham. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Sally. to approve the pay and increase for Adrian from 9.25 to $9.75 an hour. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And then, you should have seen your inboxes that refund policy change for the peer slip. If you have questions, let me know. We have to do 2 public hearings on it. The next one will, just one, which will be at the next council meeting, the 28th. So if you have any questions, let me know. Other than that, our new movie screen that we purchased came in, so we're really excited about it. It's really neat. Thanks to CRC and then the Gift of Warmth helped us pay for those funds and trying to crank it out and get 2 movies shown in October. So I'm really excited to see that moving forward.
Very good. Is that it?
That is all.
Thank you.
I have one question. On the movie screen, do you still have tree limbs blocking from different angles?
So I'm assuming you're talking about the Gift of Warmth event.
Yeah.
So we do ours at the amphitheater.
Oh, okay.
So it's an entirely different venue. I wasn't aware that limbs were blocking the other one, but we can talk about that with them. But yeah, ours is at the amphitheater.
Okay.
Just seems weird being 100 degrees and humid out, but I have 2 action items. One is, can I have permission to hire 2 more seasonal help for leaf season? It'll begin sometime middle October.
At what rate?
That I did not research yet.
Okay.
It should be in salary ordinance.
It's in the salary ordinance. Okay.
These are in the budget and the salary ordinance. So
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'll move that we approve those temporary old winter positions.
Second. Fine too, so if you know 2 of them, send them to me.
Sounds good. Motion been made and seconded to approve fall leaf help for Robert. All those in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
One more quick thing, got a quote for 150 tons of salt for this winter season. $1,275.
16,275.
Correct.
And
I
didn't you,
lied to you earlier, and it is a $8 increase.
oh, it's an increase, not a decrease. Just $8 for the whole,
Well,
or
this
per
year's
ton?
this year's 108.50 per ton, last year was 99.85.
Okay, per ton. There's a motion to approve the salt purchase
So
at the amount of $16,275. Motion made by Sally, seconded by Bill Ham. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Clerk,
Thank you.
thank you, sir. Clerk report.
I have 4 claims for approval over $2,000. Some were covered, but I'm just making sure. Banner excavating, $2,500. It's for the fire department. I think there's some stormwater drainage repairs. Banner excavating, $9,747.94. That was for the demolition of the check building. Commercial recreation group, $11,055, and that was the basketball hoops for the park. That came out from the Alex Prue Memorial Fund. And then North Central Ambulance Sales and Services, $84,054.29. And that is half of the ambulance, $50,000 of that will come from the CRC, and I will wait to send the check until I have their approval of the final of that claim. The rest came from EMS, and that's for the first half of that ambulance.
Good. Is there a motion for the claims over $2,000?
So moved.
Motion made by Rich, seconded by Bill Ham to approve claims over $2,000. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next.
Health insurance plan, I just need to provide confirmation. I would like to continue to offer the PPO plan 2 and the high deductible health plan 8. And hopefully you all agree with that because I haven't heard anything different. So I just need to confirm. I would like a motion that we'll continue to offer those plans so I can confirm that with them and keep open enrollment on track.
Council have any questions? Is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we
Continue with the health.
continue those 2 programs.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made by Sally, seconded by Bill Ham to approve PPO Plan 2 and HDHP High Deductible Health Plan, Plan 8 for employees. All those for health insurance, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
The last thing I have is just a conflict of interest statement. I'm gonna ask for you to approve. I had sent this out earlier. This is a personal thing that I'm doing, is taking a billing for Southwest Lake Maxinkuckee Service District. And it's a conflict just because we provide
Right.
sewer. But it's not anything that, I don't have any input into the contract or anything, that I'm just making you aware of. That's something that I'm taking on personally outside of my responsibilities as clerk treasurer.
I move that we approve the conflict of interest statement.
Second.
Motion made by Bill Clevenger, seconded by Rich to approve Karen's conflict of interest statement. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Attorneys, excuse me,
That's all
attorneys report.
And I don't have anything to add more. My name has been kicked around in several things, and that's. I need to add anything further.
How we doing on letters?
Letters on unsafe places?
Yes.
Well, one of
That's,
them I do have progress on, the other one, I'll let Jim know.
Okay.
I don't have progress on
Okay.
at this point.
Well, I just put it off on Zoom, so.
Yeah, it's
Whatever.
okay.
All right.
I've talked with the one on Ohio Street, and I'm happy with where we're at with that. But the
Yeah.
Obispo one, they never sent me a schedule.
And
Um,
I haven't heard anything on Jefferson Street next to. What Chuck did with that.
That comes up.
Comes
Yeah,
up at
That's
the
on the
unsafe
unsafe,
building meeting.
yeah, in the county, isn't
Well,
it?
that Boatsman comes up at the unsafe, but this is a property
Listen.
next to it
Oh, I'm sorry.
that Chuck, I wrote a letter and gave it to Chuck and I.
Okay. All right.
I'll let Jim know about the one that we need to. Because
We just
They
need to,
Jim met with them, Chuck met with them, they were supposed to give me a schedule. I was at the tail end of that meeting, and I've yet to see it, so I think we need to just go ahead and move it
I just
on.
want to make sure that everything keeps moving forward. That's,
Yeah.
we just need to stay after people. I'm sorry. No, I'm not sorry.
The one on Ohio Street has put a fence around the foundation, and we're working, I gave him a date that we'd like to have the wall of that fixed before he puts up the foundation. That's the one on Ohio.
Okay.
I was satisfied with what he's done so far there.
Thanks a lot. Anyone?
Jenny gave my attorney report.
Should we give her your salary?
Sure.
No, it was good that he was there with us today.
Yeah, this is true.
Anyone present for a utility shut off or ordinance violation? Hearing or seeing none? Citizen input. Is there any citizen input? Betty?
Patty Stallings. I would just like to compliment Amber on a fabulous year. Having gone to all the park board meetings for years and then being on the park board, it's unbelievable. And how she can hire wonderful people and train them the way she does and pay them what she does. It's a miracle there, but every year she's just better at what she does. You know, the flowers are better. The people that put them in know what they're doing. I don't know how she takes these young people and teaches them a flower from a weed, but, and there's a lot of both out there, but she does. It's just a big, she's got a building. She's got all of this landscaping. She has people coming all the time unhappy. Oh, because this person is spitting on my, it just goes on and on at the beach. The park, not so much, but they're unruly people. She takes care of them. It just amazes me. Irritable boat owners, they're told what to do, but they don't want to do it. And it's just amazing. It's so safe now. And her employees wear uniforms, they're identifiable, they present the park very well. They all stop, if they're cutting a lawn, they stop, let you go by. I mean, you know, they water the trees even. It's just a beautiful thing to see, and I wanted to compliment her again this year for everything she does.
Compliment them, it's, but thanks.
Patty, is there any citizen input for someone online? Hearing none, we'll move on to council issues. Rich?
I just want to thank Patty and Mike and the Gifted Warmth Committee for another great event supporting the children in our community.
Generosity is unbelievable here.
Well,
Really.
it takes leadership to get that program. So,
I have nothing, thank you.
Sally?
I have nothing other than to agree with Rich that
Have nothing.
I'm good.
Karen? No, I have nothing.
Congratulations on making the under instead of the over. I'm impressed.
Is there
I thought we'd be here till
motion to,
nine.
motion to adjourn?
Let's put that off for a while.
So moved.
Can I make the move? Can I make the motion?
So moved.
Motion, but is
I'll
there a
make the
second?
motion.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? We're adjourned.
You second, Sally?
Yeah.
Thank you.
If someone else motioned, I seconded it.
Bill
Not, I-
did, Bill did.
Okay.
Bill Ham did.
Jumps up and runs
No,
away.
I'm sorry.
It'll change.
I'm sorry?